Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we got a guest, my arch nemesis apparently, Regis Killbin, Mr. Positivity. We're with, the ultra negative salty Zeddy. We know it's not like that, but there's a common misconception that myself and Regis seem to dislike each other, to hate each other, to, he's some Blizzard shill, something like that, so he came to me to talk about things. Let's clarify stuff, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Blizzard and all that good stuff. So, how's it going, Regis? How are you doing?
And that was a beautiful intro. I feel like you turned it up to.
There's YouTube Zeddy. YouTube Zeddy is a special beast. All right.
No, I get it. Yeah, YouTube calls out to like amp.
You go to my stream. I'm just like, fuck this game, and with YouTube Zeddy's ready to go. He's ready.
No, I totally get it, because I think like sometimes people only see my videos that are like expansion release week, because those are like the most popular ones.
Yeah.
And I'm like naturally having more fun that week.
Oh yeah.
Everybody thinks I'm like always like that, like always just giggling and like.
Expansion week's awesome. You get these crazy combos, and you're like, what the hell's going on? You can't help but react that way. Even my salty ass does that. So
Yeah, you find me in October though on stream, and it's like nothing's happening. Even now, like this last couple of weeks, like I've barely streamed. It's been hard to find fun stuff to do.
Yeah, and when you try to do fun stuff, you get evolved on by Shaman or Demon Hunter dunks you in the face and all that fun stuff. So, but
True.
I've been finding some fun, but here and there. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, me too. It's just like instead of like 2 videos a day, it's like 1 every 2 days.
Yeah.
It slows down a lot. So anyway, yeah. So I reached out. I thought we could accomplish a few things here. So I saw your video on being blacklisted by Blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, man, it'd be nice to like offer the other side of that perspective, like share what it's like to be on the inside, maybe, and like, I don't know, meld the minds kind of the different sides there, those perspectives, and then like just let people know that like we don't hate each other. I think people naturally polarize us. Like I'm the super happy-go-lucky guy or whatever, and you're the salty bear guy. But I was reviewing our Twitter thread, like behind the scenes. We have this like super friendly, masturbatory.
Yeah.
If I can say that on YouTube, I don't want to demonetize you.
It's all good.
We love each other on our Twitter DMs. It's just like constant compliments.
It goes back like well over a year too. I'm pretty sure by this point.
Oh yeah. So the way it started was to call you out just a little. You like were giving me some shit. Oh, shit. I don't know.
Don't worry about it. I can always bleep it if I really feel it. But
no, it's fine. You were giving me some shit on Twitch or something. I don't know. I wasn't there. It's like my chat was like, "Oh, Zeddy's giving you shit, Regis." So I rated you, and it was like just kind of memeing on it in good spirits. I think I even like cheered. Like,
you gave bits. You gave me money
or something. And you sent me like a really really nice message, like apologizing for like being a little over the top or whatever. And I was like, "Oh, it's chill, dude. It's just in good spirits. Like we're playing a video game for a job. Like who the hell cares, right?"
Yeah.
And ever since then, like we kind of had a thread going back and forth, just like sharing good vibes and like a little bit of YouTube talk and stuff. And you've sent me some encouraging stuff. Like every time I make a video criticizing something in the game, you always like positively reinforce that. Like, "Hey, Regis, thanks for making that video talking about whatever." So that's really nice.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to like clear the air, because I think some people like pit us as enemies, even though we're not
enemies
at all.
And I say it all the time on my stream. I think you're an awesome guy. You've been really supportive of my stream. Even, like I said, initially, I was a dick. Like, that's how everybody gets to know me, is I lose my crap, because I get so angry when I lose, because I'm the worst loser in the world, and I say something stupid. I realize it right after, and I apologize, and I'm just such a baby. And then I'll
No.
And then I'll come in, like, I'll try and make good for it. And I've gotten a lot better, I think. Like, there's this common I feel like there's this misconception of me that, like, I'm still the same ranting, raving lunatic that craps on everybody and everything. And I feel like I'd like to think I've come a long way. And that's why that blacklisting video where I talked with, the community manager there, that I felt like I've come that way, and he kept saying no, and and I just feel like everyone has a perception. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I am that bad, but I just feel like, I have such great relationships with so many people, including like yourself over the past year, where we're obviously, I don't know. It's just a bit of a frustration, but I guess we're just
trying. No, I get it. That's why I wanted to share some perspective and talk it out. And listen, dude, I'm the same way. I'm occasionally reactionary on Twitch and like, but I'm actually get madder at viewers than like other people. Like I don't get mad at other streamers or what. I get mad at viewers occasionally on Twitch, and then more commonly on YouTube comments, which I got rightfully called out for a couple times in your YouTube comments.
Oh,
where if somebody, I don't like asshats and asshattery, and there's a lot of people who comment in bad faith on YouTube, and particularly if I wake up in the morning, like on my phone, I'll just leave like a really shitty reactionary, like "Why are you here?" Like just screw off, like don't watch sort of thing. And
I think it's hard for people to understand. I think it's hard for people to understand like how hard it is to read these comments every day. That like you're every single day like you're being crapped on for something, and you're passionate. Like you're one of the most passionate creators I've come across that genuinely care. And like when you're reading stuff that they're just crapping on it and or saying like, or you're looking in my comments where they're saying, "Oh, Regis is like shilling or whatever and doesn't care about the player and that's like this is not true." And like with the whole battle pass thing, you stepped up, you talked about it. It's not the easiest thing to do, and you talked about it, and you did it in your way, which I thought was really good. And it's just I've been lucky. I haven't had any real nasty YouTube comments that have gone after. For me, it's always like Twitch chat. Like I'll ban some because I'm mad I'm losing, and they'll backseat and be like, "Well, why don't you just take a break or play another game?" Like, do you know what it is to stream a game for your job? Like, you can't really just stop. So I get salty about that, but it's just like, we're human beings and we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, so you're gonna make mistakes. And
no, I maintain I'm like super average.
Yeah.
I feel like it's insane that either of us. I don't know if you're average or not, but I feel like just any random dude.
I put myself at the bottom. Like
video games for a job. I feel like you get a lot of shit on Reddit in particular. That's actually what inspired this call. I was reading the Reddit thread about your video. I hadn't seen it yet, and then everybody's dumping on you on Reddit. And I mean, I get it. Like you're a more negative person than some people want, and I'm a more positive person than some people want. Like we're on a spectrum, and some people want a little bit more like harshness and criticism, and they want to hear it as it is. Other people want it like softened a little. They don't want the blows to come quite so ferociously as you send them sometimes. And I think that's fine. I think it's cool that we represent different sides of the player base and spectrum. I was actually in our Twitter DMs. I sent you a message, I don't know, a while ago. I was like, I think it's cool that you're more vocal and outspoken and harsh, because I think it provides like a nice anchor point for somebody like me. Like it just gives everybody different perspectives to consider, and most people are going to land somewhere in the middle. Frankly, I've been a little bit moving more your direction lately, perhaps not like in tone, but at least in like the quantity or quality of my criticism has increased over time, because I think there have been some pretty glaring mistakes in the game lately that I don't even like. I don't get mad about stuff. Like I have fun playing Hearthstone all the time, but I have to do two things. I have to represent the interest of the audience because I want to protect them, because they're my boss, not Blizzard.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I want to protect the game because it's my job. And if the game dies, then I don't have a job anymore.
Yeah.
I don't get to eat, and God knows I eat a lot. So
Me too.
I got to be able to afford some Postmates here and there to get some food deliveries. So those are things that inspire me. It's less of like a vendetta or a crusade, or like I don't get as like angry about this stuff as some people do. It's not as like core to me, but I feel like I do have to represent my audience because they're who take care of me, and they're my boss. So that's the stuff that gets me moving and gets me inspired. And so I don't go quite as hard or like aggressively, but I don't. It's not in me. I don't know.
That's not you. That's not you.
I can't muster it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I said in my video that, they wanted me to be more positive like Regis. And I said, I get where you're coming from, but I'm not Regis, I'm me. So I got to do it how I would do it, right? And because you're going to do how you do, I'm going to do how, but we're who we are. We don't want to be, you shouldn't ever want to be someone you're not. And I wish I could have, there's so many qualities that I look up to you and wish I could be like that, but that's just not who I am in some ways. And I wish I didn't care so freaking much. I didn't get so freaking angry all the time, but I do. I just care a lot, way too much Like, it's silly, it's a game, but I can't help it. Like, that's just who I am. It's how I'm built. So I feel like to vilify people for being who they are is kind of silly. Like, someone who has a bit more of a positive outlook, but is still honest. You're completely honest and transparent. And someone for me is very cynical and critical thinking, but is still honest. It's like, what more can you really ask for? That's just, we're different people that way, and I think that's fine. Like,
this is gonna sound really funny, but you remind me of my wife.
oh god.
Start the fanfic right now.
Oh no.
YouTube comments are furious. No, for real though, like my wife and I have the same contrast. Like she's way more cynical. She speaks far more aggressively than me. Insert like Regis Cuck comments here as well. I get it. Like she just communicates in a different way than I do. But you know, over the last like 10 years we've been together, we just sorted it out. Like I just am generally going to be more positive, and she's going to be a little bit more negative and aggressive. And it just like that's like her family when she was growing up, they like yelled to communicate, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. There's still a lot of love in it. That's just how they talked, and that's just like how they got out their aggression. My family was more like sit down and have a really positive chat, and that's how we did it. You know, it's like sometimes that's not as healthy because you don't get out your anger, and it's just how people are.
Yeah.
Now that said, like, you know, that's why I hate like Reddit comments that give us hate respectively, each of us, for being ourselves, right? That's stupid. I hate that.
Yeah.
Like, don't give us hate for being us, right? Like, pick one of us. If you like one or the other better, or somebody in the middle, like whoever's neutral or whatever, Kibler or something. Everybody wants to be Kibler anyway.
Who won?
Pick the Kibler. And but here's the thing though. I do have to say, like, I understand Blizzard's perspective a little bit when it comes to you still, because their interests aren't like, you know, a Reddit user has no interest other than like maximizing their entertainment, right? Blizzard has to like protect their interests a little more because they don't want to expose themselves to risk, right? And I think you'll readily admit that like the more positive guy who's generally going to say nicer things is less risky than the guy who's going to be more vocal and very outspoken. Even if we both agree about the same thing, like, you know, we both made battle pass videos that said essentially the same thing. It's way too expensive. The framing on those, admittedly, was pretty different. Yours is like Blizzard lied and blah blah blah, and mine's like, you know, let's talk about the battle pass and have a chat. And we both came to the same conclusion, but the like framing and setup were very, very different. And again, I'm not saying that that's wrong. Like, I think you set a very good precedent, like represented that portion of the community really well. But I don't know if that means that Blizzard should necessarily want to be a part of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think one of the things that gets lost in my messaging and all that is not even so much that Blizzard doesn't want to work with me. That's not the big deal of all of it. It's literally that I am completely blocked out from him. That's the part that really bothers me, is that I literally can't communicate with them because I was like if they don't want to work with me, I get it. It's fine. And I said as much. I've said so many times, I get it. They can work with whoever they want to work with. That is entirely, but the fact that they I'm blocked out and I literally can't even cause he's one of the only ways to actually get anything done. If someone's like harassing you, for example, how I originally got to him, I have no line of communication, and that just feels pretty bad. And I guess he feels like I really attacked him, I guess, with that twit longer. And the way I phrase things is always too blunt and personal, but it's not really how I wanted to, have it. And I did message him and say that, but it's always after the fact.
The frustration. Yeah, it's okay to be frustrated. Yeah,
and I'm always so passionate and so strongly worded. Like you said, the Battle Pass video, like they're lying and content creators are spineless, and it's always over dramatic, but it's always to get my point across and to get people talking, because it works, but there are the consequences of it. So it's something I have to deal with, and I get that they don't want to work. It's just it drives me insane that I can't even message them about anything when I feel like, I don't know. It's like they're the community manager. I feel like I'm a part of the community, that they at least could have that open little, I could talk to them. Not necessarily. I don't care about getting stuff. Like that's people think it's about or getting stuff or perks. I don't care. It's just it's more of like a respect thing, I guess. And I need to be better at being more respectful with my wording, and I keep working on that. But I just wish I could have that open lane. That's literally it, I
Yeah,
guess.
no, I get it. It's one of those, like, I think it's probably like a first impression sort of thing. This is not necessarily an offense, but
Yeah.
we make our impressions of people early, and sometimes it's really hard to change those. And you're feeling frustrated because you're not getting an opportunity necessarily to change those impressions because you're not getting that access to communication at all. So, yeah, I understand the frustration there. I wish that wasn't the case. That said, I don't know what the twit longer was or like how personal it got. I think that's one area that's like a no-go for Blizzard in general is when you start making it about like the name of the individual as
Yeah.
opposed to, like for instance, people who call it Ixar all the time on like Reddit or Twitter or whatever, right? Instead of like attacking a design decision, they start to attack the dev. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're doing this, by the way. I obviously don't know every.
I was
every
guilty of doing this. I just want to be clear. I used to say a lot of, but yeah, and even with the community manager, I named his name in that one video. I don't want to keep doing that, so but I just thought it was important for that one video. And in every video I've ever made on YouTube, I've never mentioned his name until that video because I know how important that is. And if I ever do mention a dev, like say Ixar, it's always in a positive frame, except for the battle pass where I said he got the math wrong. But again, I think that whole thing was like people were being fed information that probably wasn't 100% correct, and I never put blame on him for that. But yeah, I think it's important not to name names and vilify people like that. I think that's an important thing.
Yeah, that's my takeaway. And again, I don't know if that's something I'm not trying to say that's the case. Just that people do that. I think that's a big, like, that will get you on people's bad side because it's like suddenly made it more personal than sort of a corporate element. Because I think we can all agree that like corporate Blizzard kind of sucks these days, right? Like Blizzard has made a lot of greedy, selfish decisions. That said, there's still a lot of very good people at the individual level who sometimes don't always agree with those decisions. First off, right? Like they're just as victim to it as us in many cases, and then secondly aren't really representative of that corporate entity. So being sure to like separate those worlds is probably a good tactic for anybody who might find themselves in a similar position as you. Now, all that said, I want to back up a second because I actually think I sent you a note about this a long time ago. I know I sent it to at least one other person. Maybe it wasn't you, but I think it was. Where I said, I don't know if being connected to Blizzard is necessarily something that everybody should aim for. Now, I know, like you said, it's for you, it's more about like just communicating and having that access and being able to share your thoughts and stuff. A lot of people, it is for like tournament invites and perks and all these things, which I totally understand the desire for that because there's like real monetary value connected to those things, right? Like I get invited to a tournament, there's like a base prize pool. So a tournament invite's worth like $2,500 or something at a base level, right? So there's absolutely a real incentive to being invited to tournaments. So I don't want to like not weigh that because that's clearly a significant thing to a lot of people. But I think there's also some advantage to being in your position, like being really outspoken and being able to kind of capitalize on the outrage, like with the battle pass stuff. I think you'll readily admit, and this is not to shame this at all or criticize it, but you had videos that were way more successful because everybody was mad, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a streamer who didn't make the same videos couldn't capitalize on that same outrage. Now, I'm not saying those are equivalent, right? Like probably the $2,500 is still worth more than the video bump that you got, I'm sure, from a financial standpoint. But I do think there's like a niche to carve out there where there's like the kind of bad guy or the rebel or whatever, which you've done very nicely. I think there's value in being that guy too.
Oh, I mean,
so,
I'm at 18,000 subscribers in 10 months and we're doing really well. And, it doesn't matter how many times Blizzard would try and promote somebody. It does that growth happens through that person and their content and their character and that. And I want to be clear too, a lot with like the Blizzard tournament stuff. I don't think I would ever deserve to be in one. Like the people that they have there are all like top like number creators. Like I'm not anywhere near those people. So that when I've complained about like not being involved or whatever.
I'd say you're getting close on YouTube for the record. Like people underweight YouTube significance all the time. Like compared to Twitch, like YouTube views and reach just dominates Twitch. Like I get more YouTube views in a month than I've had on Twitch in my lifetime, in years, literally.
I'm already double the views on YouTube than I am on Twitch. It's crazy. So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry to cut in there. And by the way, I can't see you in case anybody's like, "Oh, Regis is being interrupted" or whatever.
No,
I don't have a view.
You've been good.
So
you've been good. Yeah, you've been really good. No. Yeah. So I don't even know what point we're talking about. Was the turn?
Sorry, it's my fault.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
You were getting into like it's not about tournaments, it's about something else, maybe.
Oh no, it's just like I just want to be clear. I hate the thing that Zeddy wants handouts and all this stuff, and I did want, I guess, a handout for the early Battlegrounds pass when that whole thing happened. But other than that, like it's literally like I keep saying, it's about like that respect and communication thing, and it sucks not getting like a sweater or something, but it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't change anything. That doesn't pay your bills. It's just more of like it's just an acknowledgement of your content and all that stuff. That's all it is. And it'd be cool to get that, as like but I'm making videos about Blizzard lying, so again, you gotta understand the thing. So it's
yeah.
I feel like I contradict myself all the time because again, I don't see things like one way, like they're idiots and I'm right and they should just give me stuff. Like I get both sides of it, so I just put my story out there, put my information out there, and that I just would love to have some open communication. And I feel like if they're talking to someone who is so outward and so vocal and so like anti-Blizzard, even though I don't think I am, I love Hearthstone, I play it every day, I play it off stream every day, like a ridiculous amount, that maybe talking to someone who won't tell you what you want to hear a bit more often could be beneficial, whether you want to work with them, but maybe listen a bit more, because most of the stuff we complain about or talk about ends up being addressed or changed to be in that kind of line, because it's usually pretty valid. I'm not just ranting for the sake of it. Believe me, if I would at this point, but I'm not ever going to do that. Like, I always try and have a valid, constructive point for everything I do. So that's just it. I wish they would, at least listen a bit more, at least from my community, because we're growing and we care. Everybody cares about the game. And they wouldn't be so passionate, so outwardly vocal if they didn't. They would just leave and play something else. We love Hearthstone, and I just want to keep trying to make it better and put our voice out there too, because we're all the consumer, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think your passion is very clear. I think you're more passionate about the game than I am, frankly. Like I don't play as much off stream as you, I'm sure, or don't play as much as you. I think my just natural disposition probably makes it seem like I'm more passionate or having more fun in some cases, but I know that's not the case. I know you're very passionate. I mean, yeah, it's a really tough spot to be in. Like, I absolutely understand your perspective, and I don't begrudge you, but I also don't begrudge Blizzard either. I can understand why they made the decisions they did. I have a corporate marketing background. Like, I have to say, I'd probably have made the same decision. Now, I don't think that reflects on you as a person, or I don't even think it reflects negatively on your content. It's just a reflection of Blizzard's interests and trying to protect those interests.
Yeah.
So, I get both sides. People can say, "Oh, Regis is being a shill." That's fine, whatever. If that's how you interpret it, that's okay. I try to be critical when I can. So, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry you have to experience this. And I know I'm in a really privileged position, by the way, as somebody who seems to get invited to a lot of stuff. So I know my perspective doesn't always have a lot of weight.
Well, I think you're rightfully invited, just so that's on the record. I would never say otherwise.
I appreciate that. I mean, I think you're probably right. I mean, technically speaking, numerically, my YouTube channel is one of the bigger YouTube channels at this rate, but I tell Blizzard pretty regularly, like, please feel free to share the love. Like, I can't turn down invites. Like, I have to do it, just financially speaking. You can't do it if you get invited. You just have to take it, or at least I do. Maybe not everybody does. But, I certainly would encourage them, and do encourage them, to share the love as much as possible. So I feel guilty often is what I'm getting at when I get invited to stuff. So it's like you do it because you kind of have to.
I would do the exact same thing. So I think pretty much everybody would do that. So don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel selfish and greedy about it, but it's just the reality of the situation. So it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, I want to make a video, and I probably will at some point, like trying to represent like what a relationship with Blizzard is worth. Like, you know, it's like I talk about like tournament invites, but there's also like access, like the theory crafting stream is always really big for YouTube. Like I get like 5 or 6 videos of like gameplay out early, which I know a lot of people hate, but a lot of people like it because they watch it too. So there is like real value to that relationship. I'd like to try to like quantify that at some stage, but it's hard to do because a lot of it's like growth. It's hard to estimate like how much does having your face on the BattleNet launcher make you like more recognizable? How much does that make somebody likely to sub to you? Those sorts of things are really hard to calculate. But I'm sure there's at least some estimation that I could like boil it down. Like this is what it was worth to be connected to Blizzard. And I mean, numerically speaking, like it's a fraction of my total income. Like I would say tournament invites represented. I did the math like a couple months ago, but there's been a tournament since then. But I think it's probably like 9 to 10% of my yearly income were from Blizzard tournaments. So the other 90% is like YouTube ad revenue. It's the audience. It's Twitch subs and bits and stuff. So that's why to me the audience is still my boss. I could lose Blizzard and lose that 10%, and fine if I piss off the 90%, you know, the audience who brings in the 90%, I'm going to be out of work, right? So this like shill argument, you know, maybe I'm biased. Obviously, if I am, it's hard to see because it's biased, right? It's internal. I don't think I am, but that's for people to decide based on like, you know, what I say and how I behave. So it doesn't do any good to say, hey, I'm not biased. I don't know. I don't think so, but decide yourself, right?
I've been saying for a very long time I don't feel that way. And you said the thing you said right now about, you know, you've said that to me like in DMs like a year ago too. It's not like something that's you've felt that way as long as I've talked to you. So I definitely, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying the game's too expensive from like day one. Hearthstone is like a stupidly expensive video game.
Yeah.
It's outrageous. It's got to the point where I hate paying for the game and I play it for a job.
Yep.
It's so outrageous. So, you know, that's part of the reason I wasn't that upset about the battle pass. I was like, yeah, it's a step backwards for some people. Of course, that sucks, but it sucked already.
Yeah,
it was already.
It's like we've just accepted it's garbage at this point, you know.
It was like it didn't really change the metrics much for me, right? Like 5%, 10% here. It's like I need a 50% discount. Like, you know, it's just not even close. So, you know, it's a reason to be upset, sure, but I think we still need bigger changes if we want the game to continue to grow and enter like a kind of refreshing cycle. Otherwise, I think what we're going to see is a long-term gradual decline like we've seen for the last 3 to 4 years or whatever.
The fact that the constructed format on Twitch is like dead, like it's crazy, like it's all battlegrounds because that's people can actually play that. They can. It's
exactly. It's free to play. So I mean, I see it in the stats. Right? Like I'm a YouTube stat guy. Like I constantly check numbers on YouTube, and you go to anybody's profile, like Kibler, Trump, Crip's a little different because he's more battlegroundsy, but like constructed, like Tice, Kibler, and Trump in particular, their YouTube stats just continue to drop. I thought they'd like kind of bottomed out, but they just keep dropping. And I've been lucky, and you're in the same position where it's like we have kind of grown against the grain because we're like newish-er, and I mean I'm not even that new anymore, but for years there I was growing despite the game declining just because we were getting more popular. But even now, I'm starting to see the same decline. Like I think I've peaked, and now I'm on the way down as well. Maybe that's just because I suck. Who knows?
No.
I think it's representative of the game as well, right? It's just harder and harder to get views on YouTube, and then of course you come along and steal half of them. So
of course, because I'm just yelling like an idiot.
Gonna put a hit out on you.
Yeah.
My views. But so anyway, I think you know. It's silly to say the game's too expensive, right? Like we choose to play it. We're not victims of a game we choose to play, really. But if we want the game to grow and succeed and continue to bring in new people and bring back people, there has to be a bigger change than what we've seen, right? The Battle Pass did not implement the change necessary to bring the game into a new level. And maybe that's not what Blizzard wants. Maybe they just want to cash out and ride it out for the next 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I was hoping this would be around for like 20, 30 years, like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible anymore. Like I've gotten to the point where I didn't think I was gonna have to make an exit plan in Hearthstone for like 10 plus years, and now I'm already starting to lay the groundwork to make an exit plan and a pivot by starting like variety content and thinking about what that looks like and
Yeah.
what do I do next, because I think my runway got like 5 years shorter than I expected. I don't know if I'll be able to remain viable as a full-time content creator in Hearthstone in like 3 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
The way the numbers are going right now, 2 years it won't be viable. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I've seen other people, like I know Solemn on his, like when he got 50K, he was already starting to talk about other games too. It's like it's the reality of it, because if you can't make a living, like you got to do something. You can't just watch it go down with the ship. You got to do something. So that's why I fight so hard, because I want it to thrive, and I see so much they can do. That's why that's why I have so many videos I can do. There's so many ideas of improving things that would be great, and it seems like
funny. I don't know. I don't know when you'll post this, but I have 2 videos coming out for improvements as well. Like I asked the audience, I polled them like, what do you want to see in Hearthstone in 2021?
Yeah.
What do you want fixed in 2021? So even I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah. And it's just wish we have a little bit more of that. Like, let's see a Wild Open. Let's see more esports stuff promoting the game. Cheaper crafting. Put maybe a wild card system. You could pick what legendary you want. Like, just reasons to be excited to get back into Hearthstone. Play it, and I know they got to make money, but if more people are excited, then maybe more people will spend money. And like maybe you don't just rely purely on the whales, and you have a bit more splash from everybody. And I mean, they have their market research and all those guys that probably see the numbers a billion times more than we do. But I mean, it's just the way I feel and I see it. And I have like an accounting background. I have kind of an idea of how things can be and all that. It's just, yeah, I want our game to keep going, and it sucks when I hear you say that. It scares the crap out of me. So,
Yeah,
and
no.
it's
I mean, look, my instincts are that this is not a like so like for instance, the people I work with at Blizzard and the people I know at Blizzard are the community team and the developers. Like I've done play tests and stuff, so I've spent a lot of time with developers. And I think everybody wants the game to grow and do all these things. It feels like to me, and I don't know any behind the scenes details of this stuff, but my instincts point to the fact that it's probably more of this like corporate level, like this is being dictated to the people that we know.
Yeah.
And they end up taking the blame for things that they probably have no control over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm assuming that the guy who's designing cards is not responsible for the monetization model.
Zero chance.
So it's like it's unfortunate that this like communication that you see in the community, I feel like the people I know and respect so much, who I know love the game because they talk about it nonstop, and they just have all these crazy ideas and creativity. And although a lot of the people I know have technically left Blizzard, which is a whole separate conversation,
Yeah.
there are still numerous people I've worked with that know that love the game to its core. I almost feel bad for those individuals in a way because of the sort of community reaction. Now that doesn't make the community reaction unnecessary or unwarranted or anything. It's just kind of unfortunate, like conflict that exists kind of between the wrong people and the wrong. I just hate watching it. Basically, like, it made me really sad and distraught with all the battle pass stuff.
Yeah,
because it's like everybody on all sides had good points. A lot of people getting attacked that didn't deserve it, like creators and Blizzard people, and even like people like you are getting attacked for going the opposite direction. Like everybody wants something slightly different, and everybody's getting really aggressive. Everybody doesn't represent that exact slice of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating, and frankly, it got me pretty down as like the future prospects of Hearthstone. It's like, man, it feels like this community is like cannibalizing itself a little bit. I don't know how this bears out over the next 2 years, right? Like everything
pretty ugly, but at least it seems to have recovered. Like they did, the latest battle pass at least update helped a little bit, and I hope they try and communicate more. And I think the big problem was just the silence, and people are pissed off and they don't know who to go after, so they just go after everybody. Like, and
that's exactly why it's like nobody's fault. Like I'm not I don't think it's wrong to represent your opinion, right? Like to have a belief and stand for it's awesome. I'm not going to criticize that. It's just there's a lot of people that get caught in the crossfire, sort of haphazardly, us included.
Yeah.
But nobody's wrong either, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody wants its own specific thing. So it just, it's like, oh, mom and dad are fighting, right? Like I just don't want them to fight. Like everybody's getting a divorce, and it's just kind of wore on me a little bit. I'm looking forward to this year. I mean, we said this a lot. Hopefully, we see more good stuff, and apparently there's a new game mode coming. I legitimately don't know any. I don't know any inside info right now. You know as much as I know about what's happening in the future. So I don't know. I hope it's all awesome and fun, but I have concerns like everybody.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see, and I'm hoping for the best. It would be great to see,
Oh, one thing I wanted to talk with you about is duels.
Yeah.
Duels is actually one of my most outspoken. I really hate duels monetization model.
Your video on that was really good, and that was like out of nowhere too. No one was talking about it. So
yeah, it's just I feel like duels is it's honestly for like the last 3 years I've been talking about how I wanted a PvP dungeon run. Mm-hmm. I kind of wanted one that like scaled forever, like it wasn't capped at 12 wins. You just got these totally obscene like 40 win decks and stuff, and somebody else had a crazy 40 win deck.
Infinite gauntlet mode. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's just like and imagine if like Crip had this like 40 win deck.
Yeah.
And, Kibler had this like 39 win deck or something. They were gonna go against each other. It'd be like a pay-per-view event. It'd be so sick. But anyway, that's a separate conversation. Mm-hmm. So duels was really close, like my dream Hearthstone game mode, and I feel like a lot of the like systems decisions and monetization decisions behind it kind of shot it in the foot right out the door. It's got balance problems. It's got problems. I don't. All the hero powers being locked really cramped the diversity in the mode early. It felt like you're just already finding a meta like within the first couple weeks, and there's no shakeups to that. So, really, really upset me that duels. It feels like is going to limp out of the gate and never actually make it to the finish line as like a viable game mode. I feel like nobody talks about it or plays it much. I don't know if you're playing. I'm not really playing that much either.
2 days ago, I was like, all right, I want to do a dual stream because I love that stuff. I love all the mode. I play every mode because I like doing that. Like, let's do a dual stream, or we'll do a day of duels. First game, it took 5 minutes to find one, and I have a bad hero pick, and I finally get one, and the guy's like, his thing lines up well against me, and I lose. I wait another 2 minutes. I face the same guy at 0-1. I lose again. And then I wait another minute, and I face the same guy at 0-3, and I'm just like, this is stupid. Like, nobody's playing it, and it's pairing me against the same guy. And then I tried again another time off stream. Same thing, face the same guy 3 times in a row. And it's just like, it sucks, because I want duels to be awesome, and I've tried making content on it. Nobody watches it, because nobody's into duels. For at least when I've done duels content, it does very poorly. And I was going to, my video, I'm planning on doing in like a day, was what the hell can be done to save duels. I was going to mention your video about the monetization that's like killed a lot of it, and the fact that it was released just before an expansion and there was like almost no promotion. There's no reason to play it. There's no like ladder or like leaderboard, and nobody streams it outside of like Team America, who's trying really hard and he does a really good job, but like it's like one guy, it feels like. And yeah, it sucks because it's such a cool idea. Like, I love the single player stuff. I always loved watching Crip play dungeon run stuff. That was so much fun, and I would play it all the time. And yeah, like, I did a video hyping what are the new game modes going to be. This was number 2 on my list, was PvP dual dungeon run mode. And it just sucks that it's not working out. And yeah, the monetization is just bizarre. Like, it's more pay to win than any mode in the game. Like, even more than standard, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because like, you have to have certain hero powers and treasures, and you have to have the latest expansion. It's not even like you have to have a certain amount of epics from the Year of the Dragon. It's literally the latest expansion, and they made it a little more lax in the last patch, but it's still pretty rough. And the fact
I don't know the details on this yet, but do we know what its rotations? It has its own unique rotation, right? Too, so you're gonna have to even have more wild sets than normal, which for a wild guy like you may not be a problem, but for a lot of people, that wild versus standard break was a big deal too.
Yeah, because most people just disenchant their wild cards, because that's the big condition that wild doesn't matter. There's no wild events, there's no reason to play wild, it doesn't matter. So people disenchant it because they can't afford both modes anyways. And now, like, it's an integral part of this new mode, and they're just already, well, I don't want to bother, I don't have wild cards. Even if you don't need it, you have that automatic perception that you can't play it because you don't have it. So you already feel like, what's the point? And then again, there's no real reason to play it other than heroic. which you have to pay gold, and the mode's so unbalanced at the moment, you'd feel like you're going to throw... I won't play it, because I feel like I'm going to throw gold away, and I value my gold. I don't want to spend more. So, like, I always play the casual one, and it's rough, and if wild mattered more, maybe it wouldn't be as bad, because more people might have wild cards. And also the thing is, if it's tied to Dark Moon Fair right now, the next season of Duels is probably going to be tied to the next expansion, which means you're probably going to have the epics and stuff for that one. So you're going to have to go through
the weird thematic fit, too, because it's like the Skull-o-Mance Duels season.
Yeah.
All wizards and stuff. Doesn't make sense thematically.
Unless they're planning on always tying it to Skull-o-Mance, which I think they're going to require, because it's like that for... It's like that with Battlegrounds, it resets every season, right? Like, you have to get the perks for that season. I feel like you're going to have the epics for the next expansion. That's going to be like...
Oh, yeah, definitely. It will.
That's going to be like...
I don't know that, but...
Yeah, like, it's just... Like you said, it's going to kill the mode. It's already killed the mode before it got going. Because you just don't hear about it.
And the crazy thing is like, I think Duels, to be good in the future, requires a ton of upkeep. Because you got to add a ton of new treasures. You got all these new... hero powers and signature treasures you're supposed to update every like season or whatever once it moves past Skull-o-Mance. It's like it's going to take a ton of design and development support, but there's not going to be the incentive to offer that design and development support, because you look at the numbers, nobody's playing Duels, and it's like, is it just going to get killed immediately? I don't know what the plan is to support Duels long term. I'm worried that it's just going to be that negative feedback loop where it's like, well, nobody's playing Duels, so we're not going to support Duels, which means even less people are playing Duels, and then it just ends up in a terrible spot. So you brought up a million great points there.
Yeah, so...
Which makes me really sad, because I was so excited for Duels.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
I was like, this is sweet. Perfect. I'm like, we can create all this content around it. It'd be so much fun to stream, and I was super psyched for it. Like, because I always like to find an excuse not to play ladder, and that would have been a great excuse. But nope, I can't do that most days, because literally no one's playing it. And that feels pretty. And then there's this another new mode. What it's like they're gonna have to support that too. It's gonna be crazy. Like, I'm glad for new modes, but if it's oversaturation and they can't handle it, it's like, what's the point at some point? You know, like, we'll see. I'm hoping it's just like a permanent like Brawlisium or Brawlisium. I always say it wrong. Mode where you just can like bring your standard deck into like an arena format and just literally as a new tab, and because a lot of people like that, and it would be easy. And you don't.
Yeah, it's good for people competitive like you to like strut your stuff, show how good you are, and everything. That's awesome.
Well, I pretend to be good, but yeah.
Hey, I can't even pretend. So
yeah,
that's worth something. Yeah. What are your thoughts on? I don't want to make this just like all. Did we talk too much about too much stuff? Please kick me off if you're done.
No, we're good. This could be a really long video, and people can tune out, but it's all good. I like talking, and
all the good stuff was at the beginning anyway. I was just gonna ask what your thoughts are on Hearthstone balance right now, because I've actually been, I think, more positively aligned on Hearthstone balance than most people over the last probably like last 6 months, honestly. Like, people always ask like, what should get nerfed? I'm usually kind of like, I don't know. It all feels sort of fine for me right now.
I don't think anything's been.
If you're passionately against that, if you think stuff needs nerfed.
I always have my like, this should be nerf videos and all this, but it's not. There's nothing been outrageous. Like, there's stuff that's like a little bit out of control. Like, Ashes was ridiculous, and I made a lot of like videos and quite a few rants about it. But Skull-o-Mance wasn't horrendously bad. There was some parts that like were. There's always going to be broken, frustrating stuff. That's just never going to go away, because that's. If you don't ever make interesting cards, no one's going to play the game. So you have to break the game. But I feel like they've gotten a lot better the last 2 expansions particularly. Like, there's stuff you can tweak and make better, but it's not to the point where I don't want to play the game. And like Evolved Shaman right now is really, really gross in Standard right now. But I don't think it's like out of line, ridiculous level that we've seen before. It's just a really good deck, and it can be frustrating. And it would be nice to see it dialed back, but not like... I don't think it's ridiculously out of question. Like, you look at the win rates of it, it's really good, but yeah, balance-wise, I think they've gotten a lot better. And Demon Hunter was just such a challenge, right? Entering a whole brand new class into the game. I can't even imagine that type of like challenge of doing that and having it not completely break the game, which it did, if you want to make it good. And we're finally at the point where Demon Hunter just feels like a class in the game. And that alone, I think, is a huge accomplishment in less than a year. That I love playing the class now. I've been playing it a lot. I almost have 1,000 wins with it. I'm getting for that 1K portrait.
Wow.
It's a really fun class when you're not just going face like an aggro deck for me, and it doesn't feel that unfair compared to what it was before. Like when I got rank 1 legend with it, it wasn't even the best deck, and it was fun. That's not me flexing. Okay, a little bit. But I got rank 1 legend with it. I played it, and it was a lot of...
You caught my reaction.
Yeah, I saw it. But no, like, I never like playing the best stuff. I've always been, like... I follow Crip in that vein. He never wants to play aggro. He never wants to play the best deck. He wants to win because it's him. He's playing a cool deck, and it's fun, and all that. And that's kind of what I try and do. And some people are like, so, really? Soulfried and Demon Hunter? Are you kidding me? But for me, it was like an old Burn Mage kind of old school Hearthstone deck, and I like that aspect of it. It was like Oil Rogue mixed with Kingsbane Rogue with like Burn Mage, and had a lot of cool elements, and that was really fun. And I'm glad that the class is in the game now, and it's like it feels like a real class. And they did that in less than a year. There was like horrendous growing pains with it. It was brutal. But at least we're at a point where I don't see it too much hate for it. Now it's all screw Shaman or delete Priest, which I say all the time because I hate Priest. And I just, I think they're getting better, and I think it's a big help that they do a lot more balance patches. It sucks for the free-to-play players that they do a lot more balance patches because it's harder to keep up, but for the health of the game and the fun of like the meta, I think it's helped a lot that they can, if something's out of line, they're a lot quicker to get to. It used to be like 2 months to get a nerf. Now it's like a week or two most times. Like we don't go a month almost ever without a balance patch, and I think that's good. And hell, Demon Hunter didn't even get nerfed last expansion. During Skullmance, not one card got nerfed. And then they had to nerf a bunch because they gave them some stuff. But yeah, I agree that the balance has gotten a lot better, and I've been really happy with the team. I think they're listening a lot more than they've ever listened. The monetization people, no. But the design team, yeah, I think they really have. And I think Ixar had a nice post on Twitter. He had like his New Year's resolution today to be even more like give more feedback in the community. And I think Ben Hearthstone responded with like a list of Ixar responses on Reddit, and I think they're doing a great job. And Celestalon's always on there, Core's always on there, Alec Dawson's always like they're listening. They're definitely listening, and they're not the people in charge of the monetization and all that stuff. Like you said, it's they're the ones that care about the cards in the game and making a fun game, and it's really hard to do. I couldn't even imagine it, and I think they're doing a much better job, and they're listening to a lot of people's complaints, and they can't. They have to do their own thing, have their own vision. They can't listen to everything. Otherwise, what are you doing? But I think they take a lot of it into consideration, and I see a lot of it, and I think that's good. And I will still always complain about everything that beats me, because that's what I do,
Yeah, no, I think that was a really nicely put and well-reasoned compliment series there. And I totally agree. And like all the people you worked with, right? That when people talk about like streamers' relationships with Blizzard, I think they like envision these like backdoor deals where it's like I'm meeting Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision, like in an alleyway, and he's like handing me a briefcase of like $100 bills, and like, this is your message for the week to tell everybody how great Hearthstone is, right? That's not the experience at all. It's literally just like, oh, I'm sitting in a room talking to Ixar and Celestalon about Battlegrounds design and asking them a ton of questions. They're explaining things to me. They're listening to my feedback, and they're explaining maybe why that's good or bad ideas in their experience, and like, oh, that's a great idea. We're going to consider that sort of things, right? Like, that's the relationship with Blizzard that we all know. There's not these like seedy, underhanded dealings. So I certainly always like, since I consider those people friends in some cases, like many cases, I appreciate you saying that. Like, I hate when a lot of them get bad raps, because I know it's just not their experience personally or their responsibility or anything, right? They're often haphazardly tossed into the fray when they're doing their best, I think.
And that's why I get triggered by these,
and I don't see behind the doors, but
I get triggered by these Reddit comments. So like, it's always flaming devs. I'm like, I've been praising them like nonstop for like for quite a while. Like, they're doing a great job lately, and like I say, I praise the good, I critique the bad, and it's like, yeah. So I do want to. I'm glad I can get that out there again. That I think there's a lot of good going on. It's just there's always room for improvement, and especially there is some bleak stuff going on with the game, like you said, and it's a bit scary. And there's still a really good core here that I think could be really captured, and it's just you need that right push for everything, and it just like right now we don't see it, so we're hoping soon, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean that's great. I listen. I can see the positive changes you've made. I mean, I'm not like watching your stream every day or anything. But, what little I've seen.
While you're lurking, I see
and
you in my
videos
viewer
I've
list.
watched.
But...
What am I doing?
Yeah.
Why is Regis always watching?
Yeah.
Night. What's he called him his wife? What's going on here?
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought. Basically, I think you're making a lot of positive strides. Unfortunately, it may be too late for you to like get that relationship with Blizzard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just because maybe if it ever did get personal, I think you mentioned some names here and there. Like maybe those people, perhaps rightfully or not, I don't know the comments or the interactions, but maybe they took it personally, or maybe their feelings got hurt, or maybe it's not that. Maybe they're not making the decision at all, and it's somebody at a higher level too, right? Yeah. Like maybe there's just like that guy's toxic for the brand, we can't have him, and maybe that's the best they can do. I don't know the situation, obviously, but it might be too late. I don't know, but it certainly doesn't hurt to be positive, I guess, or be yourself if that's the direction you find yourself going. I don't think you should force it though, or like. I've had a lot of smaller streamers and content creators reach out to me like, how do I form a relationship with Blizzard, as if that's like the be all end all target for them or something, or that's the goal.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be anybody's goal. I think your goal should be, how do I get more viewers to like me?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get more audience to really enjoy my stuff?
And if that
Blizzard, like
if that comes, it's great, but like doesn't pay the bills like we've been saying.
Yeah, I never reached out to Blizzard. Like they found me. There was like a Reddit clip or something of some obscene thing I did, some crazy thing, and they found me. I didn't even think I was remotely like ready to cross that barrier and like try to reach out to Blizzard, right? That wasn't like a goal for me. My goal was like, I gotta get subscribers, I gotta find YouTube viewers,
Yeah.
And I think that's where most content creators should really be directed, is just like improving their product, making better stuff all the time. So you're doing great on YouTube, by the way. Like it's always impressive. So well done. Like good. I like your yearly awards video.
The Zeddies.
Oh my god, that's brilliant. Why didn't I do that like 5 years ago? That's such a good idea.
Well, you got to come join for the next year's one, because I'm planning on doing it again.
No. I don't want to steal your thing.
No, like I think it'd be fun. I want to make it more collaborative. Like I would love to get more people in the community. Like I had Solemn was in it, and if I could get more people, like have presenters or something, it could be like just put a video on presenting like an award. I think it'd be great. So
I was pissed I didn't win, frankly. Like
you were second. I swear. On the viewer one, you were second. On my list, you were somewhere, No, but
23rd.
Yeah. No, I had kind of already picked who I was gonna have win before even like, because I've been really close, and he's done a really good job. Like, I think he's the only one who's been like growing more than me lately. So, I had to give it to him. But no, you were legitimately second in the viewer, and I subbed you. I watch your stuff, more the discussion stuff. I'm never into gameplay stuff. I can't even like.
Yeah, no.
I use Skip the Crip to watch the parts that Crip would talk, and
nobody watches my gameplay anyway. It's garbage.
But no, like
they want to see the decks. I don't care about the gameplay.
Yeah,
I know where I'm at.
I just want to see that face. Right. I want to see that face.
Yeah. No. I mean, you do a great job. Like it's hard to grow right now. I mean, it's seemingly way harder the bigger you get. Like the more subs you have, the more you lose over time. Like if you look at like Crip and Trump, like they lose 1,000.
Yeah,
subs every week.
We looked at that on stream today, actually. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really hard to get. And I'm to the point where I'm like kind of flat right now. Like I'll gain 30 a day and lose like 30 a day or something, right? So I'm not really growing much right now.
Yeah.
But you got a bright future ahead. So.
Well, we'll see how long that keeps up, and you never know. I'm just keep throwing content out every day. Whatever happens, and that's been my approach. I haven't been like, my goal for like 2020 was 2,000 subs. So I got that, and I got to try and.
Crushed it.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I had no idea what I was. I just wanted to make content, see if it worked, and it blew up, and Like you're an inspiration for that. Crip's been an inspiration for that. Solemn, like they're the big guys that have really been. I mean, Solemn, he's the one that got me going. He like told me what to get and everything to get it going. So I wouldn't be doing it if it
no,
wasn't for
Solemn's
him.
really smart YouTube guy.
Yeah.
He reads nonstop.
And
So.
he just steals all my ideas. So that's, you know, obviously he knows like what good ideas are because he takes all mine. So
It's hard to find good ideas.
I keep ribbing him about it. It's great. So it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
I love the dude. He's a great guy. But I guess I'll
Yeah.
let you go, right? Like we've been
Sure.
going for a while. We're almost at an hour. If you aren't, it's been that long already.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, I gotta go make a video myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
But
No, hey, thanks for talking to me. Like I just saw the hate you were getting on Reddit. I felt kind of bad. I was like, oh man, people contrasting us so much.
yeah.
I don't want any like negativity hate that you get to be. You know, I felt like culpable almost, like they're drawing this comparison. It's like, man, comparing the two, he's getting more hate than he should. So I just wanted to like point out to people that we're friendly, like we get along. I wouldn't, we don't talk all the time or anything, but we're certainly friendly. And I don't talk to any other streamers really. Nobody cares about me, but Dexter's about the only one I talk to semi regularly. I don't know. Are other streamers friends with each other? I feel like
I talk to Theo all the time, and I talk to like Solemn and a couple of like I'm really close. I'm with more of my viewers. I'm always chatting with my viewers in Discord and YouTube comment. Like that's what I'm passionate about. If I can, the streamers, we have so much we got to do. Like it's hard to. I think there's some clicky circles in some places, but I mean that's just because they're closely knit already or whatever. It's like we're so busy all the time. Like I don't sleep. I don't have time for. It's like what 5 a.m. right now, and I've been up like I wake up at 4 p.m. sometimes. So yeah, it's just it's a hard thing. It's a lot of work, and that's why it's hard to ever talk. It's nice to be able to talk to you, and
that's my point. Yeah,
I admire the hell out of you, and you've been a big help for me, and you've been a big support. And I don't want people to like go after you or people that like you go after me, although I've never really seen that. They're too nice. They will never do that. But
that's funny you say that. I think there's some real truth to that.
I've never had a Regis paid guy come after me. They're too kind.
I don't have any paid actors either.
Yeah.
I think there's some truth to that though. Like I think you have more outspoken viewers who don't like me. They're going to be more like outspoken about it. Which again, that's totally fine. I don't expect everybody to like my personal brand of personality or content or style or whatever. I think that's completely acceptable. Yeah. I often like tell like if somebody complains, I do one of two things. I like yell at them because I'm an immature baby, or I say like, hey, no worries, like go watch this person. I think you'll really like their stuff. So yeah, I get it. Anyway, I got off on
It's all good. It's all good. I love talking.
I felt bad you're getting hate. I wanted to talk because I knew we had this like we were already friendly and we had two different perspectives to share. I thought that'd be cool to like bring those together and point out to people that like you don't always have to take everything to the extreme or like polarize it. Like it's okay to have a perspective somewhere in the middle or not, and you don't have to disrespect the other side just because they do things in a different way. Like we both respect the hell out of each other, even though we do things in a totally different way.
Yeah, that's
great. Like I think that's how the world should be. So I just wanted to clear the air there.
Well, I really appreciate
not with you,
that.
But with like the greater community.
Yeah, no, and I hope that some of them see it. I mean, there's no talking to some of these people, but I hope that some of these see this and like chill out, like relax, like it's don't have to go so crazy at everybody, whether it's me or readers or just anybody in general. Like you see other like Zalay got a lot of crap because I included his clip, and that was just that sucks because I don't want that guy to get crapped on either. And it's just let's just we're all here hoping for the game to be better in that way.
But also we're streamers and we play video games for a living, so shit all over us. Like,
That's it.
We deserve it.
It's a children's card game. I'm complaining about. We're complaining about this card costs 1 mana too much, or it's it can be pretty silly. So
yeah, we have the cushiest experience in the world too. So I think people give us too much credit sometimes, and we probably do deserve to get shit on here and there. So
absolutely,
we're open targets.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right, well, thank you very much, and I'll let you get going and to YouTube and Reddit if you're watching. We'll catch you guys later, and Share the positivity, the love, all that stuff.
Appreciate it, man, and the hate too. Don't.
Yeah,
We gotta
of
give
course.
you your fair share too. The hate and the love.
Yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks much.
All right.